Hi everyone, and welcome to today's General Hospital recap. As always, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of our videos or recaps. Almost 700 subscribers, oh my god, that's ridiculous. Thank you so much, like you have no idea. I had my mouth covered for all that. Thank you everyone. So let's get right to today's General Hospital recap. At Wyndemere, Hayden is researching how she was shot. Nick walks in, takes her computer from her. Very rude. Don't do that to someone. And is like, why are you reading this rag? This is Julian Jerome's blah, 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 blah. And she questions him and thinks she's like, look, I think the bullet might have been meant for me. So Nicholas gets like really defensive and she's like, why are you being so defensive? I never said like you were involved. I just said I thought the bullet was for me. And he, like, doesn't have a good poker face at all. He's really not good at this whole bad Cassadine thing when it comes to, like, the stealthy stuff. At the floating rib, Nina and Franco want to celebrate them moving in together. All happy, happy. It lasts for, like, 5 seconds because, I don't know if you realize this, maybe I just, like, I'm more sensitive to it. But, like, when Nina and Franco were talking in the floating rib, like, I could distinctly hear another person talking, and I was like, oh, I think they might have like mic'd up an extra, like pretty louder than usual, but it turns out it's because Kiki and some dude were like at the bar, you know, so it's like, oh, we were hearing that, so that's fine. It was actually pretty cool. So yeah, Kiki and some dude are there doing shots because apparently that's what we do. And the guy Kiki's with starts getting a little handsy and she's not okay with it. And the bartender's like, you have to leave. And the guy's like, no. And then Franco comes over, grabs the dude, and he's like, that's my daughter and you have to leave. If you know what's good for you, you're gonna. So the guy leaves because wouldn't all of us, you know? And Kiki doesn't want to go with Franco and Nina because Franco's like, you're coming with us right now. But she winds up going with them. And they go to SILAS'S, or I guess Kiki's. Oh, R.I.P. Silas. I miss him so much. Come back. Okay. So Kiki and Nina have the most civil conversation they've ever had in the history of forever. And they basically both apologize to each other for blaming each other for what their mothers did. And then Nina goes into the kitchen after a little bit of a funny tension. So she goes into the kitchen and Franco wants to have a heart-to-heart with Kiki. She confides that ever since Silas died, she doesn't know where she's going or what's next. At Kelly's, this is where things get super exciting. Anna and Emma are having lunch, and Emma's going to write about Anna for her Person You Most Admire paper. And SABRINA comes over, and her and Emma are still so adorable. Like, I'm glad the whole them breaking up didn't affect her and Emma's relationship. So then SABRINA wants to talk to Anna about Carlos, so she sends Emma into Kelly's with a few bucks to pick out cookies and some cookies for herself. So SABRINA says that something doesn't sit right with her with the whole Carlos shot Sunny thing, and she also thinks that she would have heard from him by now, and maybe she should like tell the cops that. And Anna advises against it, and she's like, you could wind up making yourself accessory after the fact, so I wouldn't do that if I were you. So then Emma comes back with the cookies, and SABRINA heads off to the Quartermains to give Michael the cookies. I wish someone got me cookies, but whatever. So Emma's reading a little of her paper to Anna, and Anna wants her to put some of her flaws in there. She's like, you can't write me as a saint. And Anna's like, well, how about how, like, I can really only make tea and do this, that. Like, I'm not really a good cook. And Emma says, ooh. Emma says, well, you don't have to be a good cook when you're a hero. And I'm like, oh, that's exactly why I'm a good cook. So then inside Kelly's, Elizabeth and Jake are eating, and he tells her how they wouldn't let him pay for the food at Noodle Buddha. I need to, like, yeah. So they wouldn't let him pay for his food at Noodle Buddha because they have a special relationship with Sam, and Liz is like, Sam was there, and he kind of tells her some of the whole thing. Like, not the part where he renewed vows with Sam or anything like that. So he tells her how Sam kind of thought Jason was really alive this whole time, which is why she's had a hard time letting go. And Liz is like, that's crazy. And he's like, is it? Is it, Elizabeth? Is it? And we were all sitting here like, is it? Is it, Elizabeth? Is it? So Jake brings up, like, with all she's been through with, oh, E-Cat, what did you do? You know, with little Jake coming back, you know, how, one second, E-Cat lost my place. Oh, so with little Jake turning out to be alive, like, Elizabeth should know better than anyone how these things can happen. And then he tells her how Sam said Jason would stop at nothing to get back to her, and since that hasn't happened yet, that's kind of solidified in Sam's mind that, like, Jason isn't alive, and we're just all sitting here like, so close. This next month is gonna be so hard. Like, are you already feeling it? Because I'm already feeling it. So Jake tells her about Mrs. Yi thinking that he's Jason, and he thinks that it's weird that 2 people in 1 week thought he was Jason, and that, you know, he never met the man, but he's always tripping over him, and we are all just like, oh my god, it's because you are Jason. I think Jake's gonna figure it out. Like, I think it's not a matter of who's gonna, like, tell him first. I think he's gonna figure it out. I don't know when, well, November 6th, but that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, anyway. So Liz gets a phone call from Hayden, of all people. And she wants to know why she broke the vase. And then before Elizabeth can say, like, anything, like, specific, Nicholas grabs the phone from Hayden and ends the call. He's like, I can handle it. Bye. So then Elizabeth lies to Jake and says it was someone from work calling. Really, Elizabeth? Really? Really now? Was it Elizabeth? So then, at Windermere, Nicholas asks Hayden why she called Elizabeth, and he, like, scolds her, and I'm like, dude, you gotta, like, pull it back and stop being such, you know, pick a word. So then Hayden is, like, really mad now, because she's like, you can't control me, okay? Like, you either get, like, seductive, or, like, you just get angry, but you can't control me. At the Quartermains, Michael comes back to the house and tells Tracy and Paul that Sonny took a turn for the worst. Sad face. And Tracy tries to remind Michael that his father didn't exactly take a turn from the worst. His father is dead and has been dead because Sonny shot him. And Michael, like, isn't having it. And tells her how, you know, he deals with Sonny killing AJ is his business and not hers. And Tracy winds up apologizing and Michael goes to clean up. So and Paul thinks it would be wise for Tracy to keep her opinion about Sonny to herself, or at least not in front of Michael, and to offer Michael support because that's the only way, like, you know, like, not to alienate him. So Michael tells Tracy that Ava told him about Carlos, and then mentions that and Tracy's like, well, why would she tell you? And he's like, well, she said it at a meeting, but I can't tell you about that. And she's like, Michael, you're scaring me. And I'm like, oh my god, Tracy's showing, like, real concern. So the whole Tracy keeping her opinions about Sonny to herself lasted for about 5 seconds, because she tells him how, you know, he's the future of the Quartermains, and her father, like, thoroughly believed that, and not to blow it all because of Sonny, you know? So Sabrina returns. Tracy tells her to talk some sense into Michael, and Sabrina tells Michael that she doesn't think Carlos is involved. At Patrick's, Laura shows up. Thanks for telling me, by the way, because that was, like, really important. Like, it was really important. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm really glad y'all told me, because otherwise today I would have been like, what? So she wants to talk to Sam and Patrick, and Sam thinks she wants to talk about Nicholas. And Laura sees the ring, and they tell her that they're engaged, and she finally has let Jason go. So then they want to know why she came over to talk to them, because she made a point to say she had rushed over. So she kind of backpedals, and she says she's looking for a local neurologist now that she's staying in Port Charles, and that, you know, she's due for a checkup. So Patrick's like, yeah, I could totally do that. So she goes to leave, but before she does, she asks Sam if she's happy, like, if she's really, really happy. And Sam says, yeah. And Sam thinks it's really weird, and Patrick thinks it's really weird, like, because it is really weird. And end scene. Woo. Okay, so Kiki tells Franco she has nowhere to go and she can't stay there anymore, and Franco suggests that Nina buy the place and that the 3 of them live there together, and Nina's like, funny story, no. So then Sabrina thinks shooting Sonny is really out of character for Carlos, and Sabrina asks Michael to let the police handle this whole thing. They leave, like, the whole thing, so they leave the Quartermains, to go to the hospital, Michael brings one cookie with him, and they leave, like, the whole thing of cookies on the desk, on the file, that Paul has on Carlos Rivera. And then Paul comes back into the room, and he's on the phone with that, like, strange person, I don't know who, and Tracy overhears him on the phone, so I don't know how much she's gonna hear, but it could spell trouble for Paul. Anna and Emma come to Patrick's house, and Patrick and Sam say they have an announcement. Oh, what is it? So they tell them they're getting married. Jake isn't buying Liz's story about the phone call because she says it was just a call from work and that, like, it was this whole big misunderstanding, but she's still so clearly upset. So then she goes to the counter at Kelly's to order, like, some muffins for the potluck at work tomorrow. I don't know, whatever. And Jake takes Elizabeth's phone to check on it, and he looks at the most recently, recent call, and it's from a number that's not programmed in her phone. So he's suspicious, to say the least. And then Hayden and Nick have an argument. She goes to leave. He grabs her and then, like, forcefully kisses her. And then Laura walks in, because that's always how these things happen. So it was definitely an interesting day on Drama Hospital. And then I was like, let me read the descriptions for the rest of the week. And I'm just like, ah. So it's definitely going to be fun. I will see you tomorrow for more Drama Hospital. I hope you have a great day. And bye.